2023 presidential polls, INEC is telling the court to dismiss complaint. This is Nigeria Now on Equa Television International. And remember, we're doing this together. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Just do well to join us as we hear your own view concerning what we're going to be discussing today. A very good afternoon to you. And in the studio, I have Joyce Jakada.
A pleasant afternoon to you, Sambo Solomon, and good afternoon to our viewers out there.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's all about reactions since after the presidential poll, you know, some went to court, some, you know, just take it the way it came. But now the sitting have started, you know, people have started defending, you know, their petition, you know, and then, you know, the INEC, the Independent Electoral Commission is in tight corner, if you permit me to say this, because they are the ones who conducted this election, and then these petitions are coming, and then all fingers are pointing to INEC, seeing the irregularities, you know, that came out after the election. Some are substantive, and some are just mere speculation. This one is just the court that will decide, you know, based on which one holds water, which one to be dismissed. Now INEC is coming out to say the presidential tribunal should dismiss the complaint of the opposition.
Sambo Solomon will continue to maintain that the 2020 presidential election was one that is actually historic, and it will take time to just be forgotten. It's one that you can say that it cannot be easily forgotten. It generated a lot of confidence in the process, going by what the president, the assurances from the president of even leaving as legacy, free, fair, credible, transparent election, that he had to sit with the presidential candidate during the peace accord to even send a strong warning saying that anybody that tried to cause conflict or violence or crisis, he's going to deal with that person decisively. And he spoke about the fact that election must be allowed to represent the will of the people. We saw assurances too coming from INEC, the introduction of technology into this election, which was the first time, like since the history of democracy, like this is the first time we're introducing democracy in the general election, presidential election. And it gave people hope that, oh wow, if you're introducing technology, it means that the whole process is going to be transparent. So it gave people hope. We saw how that people traveled from all over the country just to ensure that they get to their polling unit and they vote. In fact, we had instances where people traveled from other countries, Nigerians that are in the diaspora came back home so that they can actually vote. We saw even during the registration, PVC collection and all of that, people turned out, as difficult as the process was, but people still insisted on getting their PVC so that they can participate in the process. But going by the declaration of the result, I can tell you that a lot of Nigerians' expectations were actually cut off. People were disappointed. We had a program here, the Choice 2023. A lot of callers called, gave situation report from their different polling units, their state, and all of that. You can tell from the voices of people the disappointment about the whole process. We've seen how that observers have said that, oh, this whole process has fallen short of even the standard of conducting election. A lot of foreign bodies have talked about operational failures, saying, oh, INEC went against its words and all of that. And going by the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the election, of course, some people were already aggrieved. Presidential candidate of Labour Party, that of the PDP, amongst other people, saying, no, this didn't represent the will of the people, and so this election should be nullified, it should be cancelled, or you declare them winner, because as far as they are concerned, they won the election, even though the likes of Adams of Shomole will say one person must be lying, because you can't have two winners. If Labour Party is saying we won and PDP is saying we won the election, then one person must be lying, and I agree with him, because we can't have two winners at the end of the day. But contrary to the expectation of, oh, Labour Party or PDP, INEC declared Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that, oh, this is the person that has substantially met the requirement of the law, and that is why we declared him winner. Having scored about 37% of the vote. But of course, petitions have been filed, because what you expect after election announcement and all of that is that anybody that is aggrieved should tour the part of the court. Right now, as we speak, the word go to court has become a cliche in Nigeria. More like the way people brag about it is like, oh, we know the outcome. We've seen the likes of Festus Keyamo preempting even the court's judgment, saying that, oh, it's going to dismiss this. And of course, you won't expect that INEC is going to fold its arm as the electoral body that is actually in charge of conducting the election, and then looking at the over 300 billion naira taxpayers' money that was sunk into the INEC so that they will be able to conduct this election. Of course, you expect accountability.
Sure.
So if petitions have been filed and questions have been asked, and INEC as a respondent is definitely supposed to come out and answer questions. So what are even the grounds of petitions that was filed by Labour Party as well as PDP? For Labour Party, they said that, see, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not validly elected. He was not. They also talked about the fact that the election, his pronouncement as winner, does not reflect that he actually had the majority of the vote. And they talked about the fact, oh, we have our agents all over and we have evidence that this person did not win the election. They talk about the fact that Shetima, who is the vice presidential candidate of the APC, has double nomination. They talk about the senatorial seat as well as the vice presidential seat, which is against the Electoral Act. And on that ground, they said INEC need to answer some questions. And he didn't even stop there. They talk about the fact that the election was marred by rigging. They talk about some of the mutilated result sheets that were seen all over, and some of the report they got from their agent, and they said, oh, this election is marred by irregularities, by rigging and all of that. They say INEC did not follow its regulation, but ended up violating its own law. And on that ground, that the election was not properly conducted. And if INEC is not going, actually the relief they sorted was that LP's presidential candidate should be declared the winner of the election, or the election should be nullified. PDP, on the other hand, are talking about the fact that, oh, there are issues of overvoting. We have the majority of vote as well, even though INEC are saying, and APC are also saying, oh, can you just shut up? I think we're actually overrating yourself. But they are saying they also have their evidence that they won the election, and they should either be declared winner. We saw how one of the agents of the PDP, talking about Dino Melaye, stood up during the coalition and said, we can't sit down here and endorse fraud, because this is against the Electoral Act that said results are going to be transmitted in real time. Sitting here is like actually endorsing fraud, and they had to excuse themselves alongside other parties. So INEC, of course, like I said, as a respondent, you don't expect that they are going to keep quiet with all this petition. They should come out and talk. And then through their counsel, talking about Abubakar Mahmood, who came out and gave a lot of adjectives, saying that all these petitions should be dismissed. They are vague, they are academic, they are incompetent. I say, wow, what an adjective, and all of that. So through their counsel as well, they came out to respond to all of these petition. And what are they saying? That all the petition that was actually filed by Labour Party as well as PDP should be dismissed, because these petitions are incompetent. In fact, INEC's Labour Party petition was vague, academic, and all of that. And they said that LP didn't even live up to the expected 6,000 polling units in Nigeria. That Labour Party did not even live up to that expectation because they don't have all agents, and so on that ground, they don't have any right to seek anything, meaning you don't even have any evidence to what you are saying. And INEC said that Labour Party barely even got 1/4 of the 2/3 of the states, the requirement, and you cannot be declared the winner. And also APC filed the response as well. They talked about the fact that Obi is not even a candidate in the election. I was like, wow. They said, going by the provision in section 77 of the Electoral Act, subsection 3, that talk about the membership registration form, that as at the time that that Labour Party's presidential candidate name was in PDP's membership form, as well as PDP, as well as Labour Party.
Labour
And at
Party.
the time that Labour Party submitted their register, LP's Peter Obi name was not there. But you will recall that some time ago, even before the election, this case was in the court, and it was appealed, and the appeal court dismissed that and saying that he's actually credible enough to contest for the election. I don't know why they're actually bringing all of these cases. But like I said earlier on, INEC has is asking the tribunal that is actually looking into the presidential, the conduct of the presidential election to dismiss the opposition that actually Tinubu won the election. But INEC is saying that Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC haven't scored about 8.7 million votes, and then PDP 6.9, Obi 6.1. Of course, going by this number, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has about 37% of the vote. He won in like 29 states. He had 25% in 24 states, of which the law required, and then he was declared the winner. And of course, people ask questions, you know, the grounds of what about the FCT that 25% in the FCT, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu just got 18% there. And I think this is one angle that a lot of legal practitioners have been making reference to. INEC said that you don't have to, that FCT is not a state. It doesn't have the veto power, that you don't have to. Having gotten 25% in 24 states, you wouldn't need the FCT. So that is why, on that grounds, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still the winner. And in their defense, what are the things that he kept echoing on? You know that people kept talking about the malfunctioning of beavers, the lack of transmission of results in real time as assured Nigerians even before the election. But INEC surprisingly announced saying that in defense that beavers is not actually meant to transmit results electronically, that and is not meant for collation of results, even the IREF, that what is just to accredit as well as snap and then send, not transmitted in real time, even though it's going to transmit it there, but not in real time. And so on that ground, all the people that are saying, oh, result was not transmitted in real time, INEC said it didn't go against its word. And it also talked about the, you know, people pointed to the reassurances. So why the sudden change of mind? Because we've seen videos going viral, we've seen interviews where even the INEC chairman, Yakubu Mahmoud, came out to dismiss claim that, oh, they are not going to transmit results. He said, no, why are we here? We're working for Nigerians, and because we're working for Nigerians, everything is going to be transparent and all of that. So why the sudden change of mind? This is what their counsel is actually saying. So they dismissed the entire petition, that the court should dismiss the entire petition by Peter Obi, and he talked about the fact that he's not even qualified to actually participate in the election. He was still a member of PDP, like I said earlier on. But like I said, on May 29, 2022, that was when he submitted letter to the PDP saying he's no longer a member. But I just wonder why now we are having all of this, even though the court has actually dismissed that claim. So these are the grounds that INEC is saying that can the court dismiss all of these complaints. But of course, INEC does not have the final say. INEC is just a respondent. The court is there to interpret the law and what the law requires and what is actually expected, the issue of the beavers and all of that. That's why we continue to maintain that all eyes right now are on the judiciary. Nigerians are already, a lot of Nigerians have expressed dissatisfaction. We've seen reaction. Chimamanda, one of the Nigeria's novelists, have come out to say, see, this whole process is unforgivable. The likes of Fowles have talked about the fact that, oh, it was just selection that was conducted, that imagine the over 300 billion naira, if it was sunk into developmental project, then Nigeria wouldn't be where it is. How can we give this amount of money only for us to conduct an election that a lot of people will be dissatisfied with? These are some reactions from some people out there, even though there are also people, like I said yesterday, that went to the streets in Abuja saying that, oh, this election is free and fair. We like the fact that Tinubu emerged the process that brought him to power, free, fair, and credible. So varying opinions about this election. But what is the take home at the end of the day? The needful must be done. Right now, what INEC is saying is just responding to the petitions, and of course, you expect that they will definitely defend themselves.
Yeah, sure.
So you recall how that they said they will need about how many 3 billion to actually defend all these electoral cases. So you won't expect that Abubakar Mahmoud, the council representing INEC, will just go and stand and say nothing. Of course, you definitely defend INEC, but at the end of the day, the judiciary will settle the whole matter, and we look up to that.
Yeah, you see, the whole thing is really funny to most Nigerians, because by your word saying, you know, we saw the use of words, adjectives, you know, describing how they feel about some of these petitions, but the truth of the whole matter is that they are not the ones that have the final say. Even them, they are just responding, you know, to those issues being raised, you know, by people that are not really satisfied. But one of the questions that is key, you know, this issue of Peter Obi that saying he was not qualified, that shocked me, and I asked myself, is INEC saying this, or is another INEC with a different meaning that is saying this? And possibly, maybe I'm just watching maybe a script that someone is acting that is not real. Because in the first place, you know, before a candidate will be qualified, it must go through certain scrutiny by INEC. And you remember, on this particular television, this particular show, we talked about how, you know, INEC gave deadlines to submission of names, you know, to even INEC, you know, publishing the names of those that are being certified, let me put it that way, by them, those that will say they are eligible. These are the people that are going to be contesting for 2023 general election. So you mean you didn't screen him? You mean you didn't go through all of these things, that you didn't disqualify him at that process until he scaled through his name, his name, his party appears, you know, on the presidential ballot, that people went ahead and vote, and then now you are saying that that he's not qualified? I thought that he should be coming from maybe an opposition party.
They actually said that APC said the same thing.
That's where I'm expecting to hear, not coming from them, because they are expected, you know, to really go through this candidates document, scrutinize them, know that they are, because they have the power to disqualify. And that is why people were just waiting. You remember the issue of the Senate president, you know, Ahmed Lawan, you know, that people waited to see the final list that INEC will publish, you know, based on people that are eligible to contest come 2023, the election that just held, you know, the presidential and the National Assembly. And then you hear them saying this. And this particular issue of Peter Obi, it is something that the court have already ruled on it, and is coming on the tribunal by the council. I start asking. And Nigerians are like, okay, where are we? Is this supposed to be coming from? But what do you expect? Definitely, they will come out and defend. Like we rightly said, that 3 billion that we are talking about, yes, it's been earmarked just for the lawyers to come and defend INEC. And this is what the lawyers are saying concerning INEC. But like you rightly said, yes, everything is with the tribunal, and then the court will decide, because they are the ones now that they will look beyond logic. They will look beyond the what do you call it? Not just logic, but they will look at what the Constitution is saying, you know, and then we will await their pronouncement. But I think, you know, even the political parties, they are not being fair to the court, because I just feel they are just pressurizing the court. Because if you begin to allow some of the party stakeholders to make certain statements, like when someone will say there is no force on earth that will stop Tinubu, automatically the court is being kept aside. You understand? That is all the court can do. They can just do their sitting, spend taxpayers' money. At the end of the day, we know what will happen. Because Nigerians can take that, because it's just a gap that you are creating. But now we're saying the court, you know, we do the needful. That's just our prayer.
Well, my take is this. As it is right now, Sambo Solomon, there are a lot of controversies already going by all of the hearing now from INEC and all of that. But one thing is sure, INEC does not have the final say. And that's why we say we await the court to actually interpret all whatever has happened, and to ensure that they uphold justice and integrity, because this is the time where if they don't do the right thing, they will lose it, as far as Nigerians are concerned, because already some people are expressing no confidence in the judiciary. But as much as we know that, oh, this is what is required of them as the judiciary, this arm of government, is for them to ensure that the interests of Nigerians are actually represented. Of course, like I said earlier on, and I'll still maintain, INEC is actually expected as a joint respondent in this petition to actually defend itself, and that is what we saw INEC doing, defending the conduct of the ballot and defending all the promises that they made even before the election, and that is what they are actually doing, and saying that Tinubu actually having substantially fulfilled the provisions of the law by winning 29 states, and that he didn't need to win the FCT, having scored 25% in 24 states. He is actually the winner of the election. So based on this requirement, as far as INEC is concerned, it conducted a free, fair, credible elections. But just like Chimamanda is saying, she said this is an opportunity, as far as she's concerned, for President Muhammadu Buhari as well as Yakubu Mahmoud to actually become heroes of democracy. But for her, she said they blew away that chance, and by all the irregularities that the election was marred by, the manipulation, because she said she didn't believe the technical glitches that INEC was saying. She didn't believe that. As far as she's concerned, it was just an avenue to manipulate, and it was seen in the mutilated result, because if there was actually technical glitches, you expect that immediately INEC respond to the situation. But there was a long silence even before the response. So in all of this, my point is this: let's ensure we uphold truth. Like I'll continue to maintain, we cannot build this country without standing for the truth. It is only with justice, it is only with integrity that Nigeria can stand. But without that, if we are towing the path of personal interest, then we go nowhere.
Well, towing the path of personal interest will not do Nigeria well, because if we are looking forward to see a more greener Nigeria, a Nigeria that will be envy of all, then definitely we have to uphold the truth. And this is our prayer, that the court will do justice to whatever is being brought before them. That's the only way the healing that we are talking about can take place. Joyce, I really want to thank you for doing this with me. For the viewer out there, thank you for staying with us. Thank you for believing on this station, and thank you for choosing this program as your best. See you next time, same station. Bye-bye.